Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Be a Nurse They Said. My name is Lainey, and I'm so happy that you're here. If this is your first time joining me, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all things Be a Nurse They Said and all the videos and shorts that I post on this channel. We're getting to the point in the year where a lot of the nursing students who are graduating in April or May will be applying for jobs. So this week I want to talk about resumes and cover letters. I'm going to give you some tips on how to write clear, concise, and nursing-specific resumes and cover letters. So let's talk about resumes first. The most important thing is that you want to keep this to one page, whether it's the front or front and back. You just want to keep it to one page. You do not want your resume too long because managers do not want to take all that time to read every single thing on a 5-page resume. They want concise and to the point so they can see what you're all about, and they want it organized. Second, for your header, obviously you want to make sure that you have your first and last name on there. You need some sort of contact information so you can have your phone number and an email address. Just please make sure that the email address is professional. yourname@gmail.com or yourname@aol.com. Then you can list your city and the state where you live. You do not need to write your entire address. They will contact you through phone or email, but you should have your city and your state on your resume. Third, when it comes to the objective paragraph at the beginning of your resume, you don't want it to be too long, 2 to 3 sentences to really showcase what you're all about. Like I said before, managers don't want paragraphs to have to read, so something really simple, clear, concise, but to the point to showcase you and your skills. This objective paragraph should really be why they should hire you specifically over all the other candidates. You should list strong skills that are specific to you and things that the manager will see that will make them want to hire you and you specifically. Next, you should list your education. You obviously want to list your school name and the degree that you're achieving, whether it's a diploma in nursing, an associate's, a bachelor's, whichever degree that you're getting, list the degree. You then want to list your expected graduation date. So for example, if you're going to be graduating this spring, you could say expected May 2026 or expected April 2026. You can also list your GPA if it's greater than 3.5. This really shows that you stand out. And if it's below 3.5, that's okay. That's not a huge deal. I just wouldn't put it on your resume. Next, you want to talk about your clinical experience. So what experience did you have when you were in nursing school in clinical? You definitely want to list the number of clinical hours you received, especially if it's a large number of clinical hours. Some schools, unfortunately, do not have a lot of in-hospital clinical time, but if you have a large number of in-hospital clinical hours, you definitely want to be listing that on your resume to show that you've had a lot of hands-on patient experience. You also want to list the specialties that you've collaborated with or had experiences with. So if you had psych, maternity, pediatrics, obstetrics, all those kind of specialty things, be sure that you're listing those so they can see all the different experiences that you've had. You also want to list any interprofessional collaboration that you have. If your school had a interprofessional simulation day or activity day with other programs at the school, if you've had interactions with the medical residents at the hospital, different things like that. Anything interprofessional that you've had experience with, you definitely want to list on your resume under clinical experience. Next, you want to talk about your work experience, and especially if you've had any sort of externship or nurse's aide experience, things like that, you definitely want to list on your resume because that's going to show them that you've had some good patient hands-on experience. You should also be listing things like customer service because what we do in nursing is technically customer service. So if you were something like a waitress or anything in customer service, you want to be listing that on your resume as well. That shows them that you've had some good experience with people skills, people interactions, communication, time management even. You can really work that to your advantage. Like I said earlier though, make sure you're not putting paragraphs underneath your work experience. You just want to list bullet points, and especially things that are specific to that role. The nurse manager is going to know what a nurse's aide does. If you worked on a specialty unit that specialized in anything, so if you work on a urology unit and you specialized in continuous bladder irrigation, list those kind of things to show them what kind of experiences that you've had. Next, you want to talk about your certifications. So your BLS and CPR certification, which everyone has to have for nursing school, be sure to list that. If for some reason you're ACLS or PALS trained, you definitely want to list that there as well under certifications. If you had your CNA before going to nursing school, this is something that you can list here as well. Last, to talk about your skills. So this is things like being bilingual. If you speak more than one language, list that under here. And then also things like under here could go is if you have training in electronic health record systems. Two big examples are Epic and Cerner. So if you have training in these, you definitely want to list that under your skills section as well. So just to reiterate, you don't want to use any paragraphs except for that first objective little paragraph, which like I said, should only be like 2 to 3 sentences to really showcase yourself. Everything under clinical experience, work experience, skills, and all the other sections, you just want to use bullet points. You should use 12 font and Times New Roman 0.5 to 1 inch margins. And the last thing is that you do not want to include any pictures. That can be distracting to the managers trying to read this. And like I said before, they want it simple, clear, concise, and easy to read. So don't put any pictures on your resume. Next, we're going to talk about cover letters. Not every job requires a cover letter, and you don't necessarily always have to do one. Managers see that as someone who sticks out because it gives you another chance to really showcase you and why you should be hired for the job. So even if they don't ask for one, it's not a terrible idea to show up with a cover letter because that might make you stand out from the other candidates. So first thing, obviously, on your cover letter at the top left corner should be your name and contact information. So you can have your first and last name, your phone number, and an address for you. That way they know who the cover letter is from. When you're addressing the cover letter, don't write to whom it may concern. If you know exactly what floor you're interviewing for, find out that manager's name and write "Dear" to their name. So "Dear John Smith." You want to address it to the actual person. You don't want to say "to whom it may concern." This makes it more personable. If you don't know who the hiring manager is and you can't find out their name, you can always write "Dear Hiring Manager" to address your cover letter. Next, the first paragraph should be an introduction to yourself. You want to state, obviously, the position that you're applying for. So, hi, my name is John Smith, and I am applying for the position of graduate nurse on the Med-Surg unit. You also want to list in this paragraph when you're expected to graduate. So, I am expected to graduate in April of 2026 from whichever program you're attending. Then you can write in this paragraph a quick little highlight about you, something specific to yourself that really makes you stand out. In paragraph number 2, you want to talk about your clinical experience that is relevant to the job that you're applying for. So if you're applying for a med-surg position, you want to talk about your experiences on the various med-surg units you were on during clinical in nursing school. Here's where you can bring up your relevant skills and experiences from maybe jobs that you've had as a nursing aide or an extern, or even a volunteer. These things are going to be specific to the unit you're applying on. So like I said before, if you're applying to a urology unit and you had experiences with CBIs before, list that. If you have a specific story you can tell about a patient interaction you had specific to things that you're going to see on the unit you're applying for, list those in the cover letter. This is really where you can showcase your compassion, your love for patient care, your critical thinking, or even a connection that you made with a patient that was really special to you. Like I said, tell a little story, but keep it to 1 to 2 sentences because your cover letter should only be 1 page. In paragraph number 3, you want to address why that hospital. Why do you want to work at the specific hospital that you're applying for? Do they have magnet status? Are they a level 1 trauma center? Do you really agree with their mission statement? Do they have a nurse residency program? Do they have a lot of new graduate support? You should research all these things beforehand so you can go into your interview prepared. Paragraph 4 is your closing. So you want to thank them for their time for reading your letter, state that you would love to have an interview on their unit, and obviously then say that you look forward to hearing from them. This should be about 3/4 of a page with the paragraph writing that you do, not including your address, your contact information, and your signature at the end. Again, you want to be concise, don't drag on, and you want it to be simple and easy to read, just like your resume. But you really want to use this as an opportunity to showcase yourself and what makes you stand out from the other candidates for this position. Obviously, at the end of your cover letter, you want to say sincerely and put your name, but leave a little bit of space in between. That way you can actually print out the cover letter and sign sign it. If you are going to be emailing this cover letter and you can't print it out, you can use a signature font to sign your name. So it would be sincerely, your signature, your typed name. This just makes it a little more personable if you sign it and hand it to the manager in person. So, like I said, your resume and your cover letter is really your chance to stand out and what makes you better for the position than somebody else. There are a lot of templates out there that you can use, whether it's on the internet, Word documents, wherever you find templates, there are really good ones out there, but then just make sure that you use these tips that I gave you for resumes and cover letters and make it your own. Please let me know if you have any questions about resumes and cover letters, and I thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe if you have not already so you can stay up to date on all my videos and shorts that I post on my channel. Be sure to like and comment on this video. Also check out my TikTok and Instagram account, Be a Nurse They Said, where I post updates on my content and lots of other shorts that you can watch. And remember, don't just be a nurse, be amazing like I know you all are, and I'll see you next time.